Welcome everyone to Business Buzz. I'm Melinda Thomas, and today my guest is Tavia, or is it Tavia?
Tavia.
Tavia Sharp.
Mhm.
Okay, Tavia Sharp. And she is a stylist and an image consultant who works with men, mainly with men, to make sure that they are promotable. And what are the other three things? Two things?
Dateable, investable, and promotable.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I think because a lot of people don't realize that how you come across, it impacts your ability to be promoted. It
Mhm.
it
Oh,
really does. So
absolutely.
I love that's part of your tag. So I would love for you to tell me also where you are right now. Where in the world are you coming to us from?
Well, I live in New York, but I'm not there right now. I'm with my family actually in Delaware.
Okay,
Not
okay,
too
great.
far, but yeah, I got
Yeah.
some more nature around me, so it's nice to be out of the city. Yeah.
And how are things going?
Yeah, good. I mean, just taking it day by day, as I'm sure everybody is. What are we on day whatever, 40 something? I
Yeah.
mean, it's a lot, but I'm just kind of taking every day, living in the moment, and not trying to stress or worry too much because it doesn't help, especially as an entrepreneur, business owner. I'm just really thinking about how I can support people and what I can provide right now that is helpful.
That's great. That's great. So, have you had to do too much of an adaptation for your business, or has it pretty easily been a pretty seamless kind of transition?
Yeah, a little bit, because I just feel like usually at this point, a lot of people are coming to me for that seasonal like we're changing seasons. So typically you're going to want to think about your wardrobe at this time. But I typically do a lot of my work virtually. Some of it's in person, but a lot of it's virtual. So I'm just really adapting to what people need. I think supporting them right now in a different way. Maybe it's not like we're going in depth right now. We're just doing some quick and easy things that can help people transition from where they were to right now, and then getting them to the next place. So what's
Mhm.
that kind of like in between? So I just been doing quick and easy things that are easy and digestible.
Right, right. And I think that's so smart because right now everyone keeps saying, "Well, you have all this time." I don't know about you, but I don't have all this time. I
Yeah.
have not found that I am looking for stuff to do, and
No.
so I think quick, easy, digestible. That's always going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, why is it important to dress for the day when
Mm-hmm.
you get up on a weekday, especially? But maybe some people work on the weekends as well. But when you're working from home, why is it so important?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of studies on this. I know we talked about this, but it's really about how you show up. It's so powerful, right? Because it's like the clothes that we put on actually affect our mood. And there is something called enclosed cognition. And again, a lot of studies have been done on this because, people, what we wear actually affects how we like perform, right? So when we dress a certain way, we perform a certain way, we also affect our mood. So I did this experiment on myself actually. When we were first, kind of going into quarantine, I didn't get dressed for my day. And I thought, this should be interesting because a lot of times I do work from home, but since I left New York and I transitioned to my family's, I was like, I didn't have a lot of stuff,
Right.
with me. So I just said, what, let me just dress down, wear my pajamas or my yoga pants or my gym clothes. And I felt a difference. I really did. I felt like I wasn't as productive. And the next week I said, every day I'm going to dress up. Doesn't matter if I have a virtual call or not, or a virtual meeting. And I really saw a huge shift in how I showed up, how I tackled the day, how I performed throughout my day, how much work I got done. It was
Yeah.
definitely a mood shift for sure. So it's important because, we need to think about how we are showing up for ourselves. And if we have virtual calls or meetings set up, we want to be prepared for that. Even I had some surprise meetings come into my
Yeah.
schedule and I wasn't dressed that first week. So that was a little embarrassing. And I didn't feel it was a good first impression. And so I think it's important, right? Like if we were going to invite our boss or our colleague over our home,
Right.
we would dress up, we would straighten up, so think about it. People can still see us on the camera. So we have
Right.
to think about these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really is amazing because most of us, I think what you just said was really important. We don't think about it that way. We don't
Mhm.
think about the fact that when we get on a call, when we get on a video meeting, into a video meeting, we are inviting people into our home just
Yes.
by the fact that we're showing up on video. And
Mhm.
and so there's so much that goes into that, making sure that your background is not going to throw people, for a loop, or that it's not so incredibly messy.
Yeah.
But I love what you said about coming to the call or coming to your day, starting your day with that, dressed, because it is such an attitude shift. It
Totally.
is, I mean, it really shifts the way that you go through your day. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I
Mhm.
know that it's just a different day. I just
Yeah.
feel like I'm, in it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. You're in it now, right? You're more committed to whatever you have to do that day. I feel that it's different.
mhm.
And again, there's been plenty of studies on this, but I really think now that I did the experiment myself, I really can say it's totally true. So it is what I teach my clients. It's like you have to show up, as you are putting in the effort, right? You're putting in the effort for yourself. We talked about showing respect for the people
Yes,
that you're meeting with. It's a sign of respect, that effort, and people do see that and they appreciate that first
right.
impression.
I absolutely, absolutely. I really feel that, and I think more and more people are getting it, but there's still so many people who don't. I'm just astounded, and in all kinds of uh, fields. I think you and I
Mhm.
talked about. There's an article going around about Florida, some attorneys who are showing up virtually to represent people, like one guy with no shirt. So it's like, you would think it would be obvious you need to just do something. So
Yes.
I know most of the people watching probably know to put a shirt on. Um, what are some of the ways that people can keep it professional on the virtual calls, for sort of different styles? Because not every business or every call is going to require a suit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always say that, like just
Mhm.
because I work with men, I'm not saying that everybody has to wear a suit and tie. I don't think that. It depends on your industry. It depends on like who you're meeting with. I mean, I really think like anything, you have to think, who am I meeting with? Am I meeting with my colleagues? Am I meeting with my team that I'm managing? Am I meeting with a client? So how do you need to show up that would be relatable to that person, right? So that you show yourself as a leader, somebody who is putting in that effort for that other person, that individual. So I think different industries, I work with all different types of industries, anything from tech to finance. So trust me, in the tech world, no, nobody dresses up. But I
Right.
still work with managers, and they still have to show that they are, in a leadership position, a leadership role. So it's important to show that you're the boss, right? Just because you may be managing some engineers that wear t-shirts and jeans. So I
Yeah.
think it's important to show up, as obviously it relates to your industry, but also you want to think about your background. You want to frame your background because people, you don't know how they're viewing you. I know we talked about this. I even had a virtual meeting where he told me, but he was like, oh, by the way, my laptop wasn't working, so he plugged in his HDMI to his TV screen, so here I am blown up on the TV.
Right.
Now, thankfully, I was dressed and ready for my day. But if it had been that first week where I was doing the experiment, that would have been embarrassing. Here I am blown up, right? So
Giant.
we don't
Yeah.
giant. We don't know how people are viewing us. We may not be this little square on the screen. And we have to think about how we frame ourselves. We have to think about our clothes, the way we groom ourselves. I know we talked about Stephen Colbert doing some funny skits on the way he was showing up on his TV show from home, and he talked about how he didn't shave for a week, and he really felt the difference. He was like, wow, I just look like a scruffy caveman. And his whole skit was like, I need to shave this right now because it's important. Just because we're not leaving the house doesn't mean we shouldn't be groomed. We shouldn't show up in clothes that really represent who we are, what we're about. And and our background also is speaking to the people on the other side.
Yeah, and I think that it's almost more important now to make sure you're well groomed, because people with technology, like you and I wouldn't stand super close to you, right? I mean, that would be awkward if we were in person.
Right.
But on your call, people may be, going full screen, or they may be, like you said, putting you on a larger monitor or whatever. So things you think, oh, no one's going to see that. You don't know. You really don't. So, if you're like, I don't need to shave today, or I don't need to brush my hair, or, or my hair looks fine, or whatever it is, it's actually probably more important now than it used to be when you showed up for an in-person meeting.
I agree. I mean, if you think about like a work meeting, I mean, I used to have plenty of them when I worked, in the fashion industry. We had these big meetings, and sometimes people just disappear in the meeting, to be honest, right? They didn't say anything. They were there. I didn't notice them, or nobody noticed me if I didn't say anything, right? But on a little video chat, right, all of us are seen. Everybody's being viewed, and so you're really on spotlight, even if you didn't choose to be. You can't help but be noticed. So you're right. It is more important to actually show up in a way that shows that you put in the effort for this call and you actually care to be there. That's a way to show you care.
Right. Yes. And somebody would not stand necessarily or sit necessarily so close to you that they could see, stubble or whatever it is that you didn't attend to that day. So that you might be able to slide by in a meeting, in an in-person meeting. But, right now it is just really critical to really self-care.
Self-care, yes.
Yeah, self-care is just so important for every aspect. It's not vanity. It's like you said, showing respect for others as well as for yourself. And that translates into your brand. It translates into how people perceive your business or perceive you as a professional. So it's I really, people don't realize that that's going to be super important these days.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, what you do, right, is it's very similar to what I do, right? It's about the messaging. It's about how we show up. It's so powerful, right? It's speaking to whoever that reader is. And I think I shared with you, I think of it, image and style as like the cover of a book, right? You're telling the reader, you're giving them a snapshot of what's inside. So that is branding, just like you would a book cover. What catches your attention? And I don't mean it has to be flashy, but it has to catch the reader's attention enough to say, I want to get to know this person more. And I think that's the whole point, is that I'm not telling you have to be the super fashionable person. You just need to say what it is that you want to say about yourself. How do you want to be perceived? How is it congruent and aligned with your brand, both in person and online? And now online is even more important, right?
Yeah. So yes, definitely. But the good news is you just have to look good from here up.
Right, that's what it is. Yes, I totally. Me too. I'm like, I can wear my leggings every day.
Yeah. Right. Or your shoes don't have to be shined. You don't need to worry about that aspect, which you would in an in-person meeting. Exactly. So, what are some things that men especially, but I'm sure it applies to women as well. What should men avoid when they're joining a video call?
Yeah, so you want to think about the background, number one, right? Make sure that you frame yourself appropriately, and also that there's no distractions going on, because sometimes whatever is in the background could be distracting. If you live in New York City like I do and you have a small apartment, you don't have a home office, you could be sitting in your living room and then there's family members going by, dogs, right? And it's distracting. So you want to think about that. What's in the background? what can, you know, people, so they pay attention to you.
Yeah.
Also your lighting, we even talked about the lighting right before the
Those-
call, but like the lighting is important, making sure that you're not like dark or washed out. Also, I've noticed this on some calls, people have like their windows open and the light is glaring in, and honestly it washes out your face so you can't really see the person. So you want to make sure you don't have that like sunlight blaring in, that it's actually you know, it's like too bright, you can't see you.
Right.
Colors, some colors, you know, for men, you don't want to wear white, you don't want anything too harsh. So white is too harsh, it's on a camera, it's just gonna like, it's gonna be wash you out. Black also too harsh, washes people out. So stick to colors like navy, some other, you know, blues, colors that you know are really going to help you pop. Nothing too bright, but you know, color, I would say. So no black, no white. What else could I say? Just think about, you know, again, the grooming. So just avoid, you know, like not looking like you're scraggly and you didn't comb your hair. So your grooming is important.
Right.
And just any other, you know, distracting things that you think would get in the way of really just you being present and that person, you know, not feeling like what's happening. Oh, look, the
Speaking of
doggy.
distracting things,
Yeah,
right
you
on
can't
you comes my distracting thing. Okay.
Yes, he heard
Yes, I'm
us.
afraid this might happen, but yes, and so it's real life here. We're
Yeah. Oh, also
um,
noise. Noise is a big one, right? Because sometimes we don't realize, like even my computer, right? It'll ding if I don't have it on mute, and that could be distracting. It's distracting to me because I'm like, oh, somebody is sending me a message, and I'm in the middle of a call. So turning your sound off. Oh, that's hysterical. She's like, hey, I wanna be in this conversation.
what's going on? What are you talking about? Okay, seriously.
Noise. And then what else? Yeah, like I would say, you know, turn your phone on silent. And if you are on a group call, right, where there's like a team meeting or at a virtual call with multiple people, make sure you put yourself on mute if you're not talking, because we can hear the background noise and it's very distracting. So I would say, you know, just when you get on the call, first thing, put yourself on mute unless you need to speak. And just, I usually do that right away so that I don't, just in case there's nothing going on in the background.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
some
it is
tips.
amazing. Some even because microphones can be kind of anywhere on your computer. A lot of times,
Yeah.
you know, I've been in meetings where people don't realize, but they're moving across the microphone when they go to, you know, do something, and it's really loud. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm typing and everything.
I know, right?
Yes, I've heard it. I know.
Yeah, yeah. So is there anything that you feel like a small something that men can do to show up not looking just like the other guy? So I feel like with men's
Mm-hmm.
clothing more so than women's, there's almost a uniform. There's almost a, you know, like it just seems like, and it doesn't, I don't feel like in in-person meetings, I feel like everybody looks the same, but it can happen in virtual meetings. So
Yes.
are there some tips that you would, you know, say, knowing that probably a couple of people are going to show up in a blue shirt, or
Mm-hmm.
a couple of people are going to be wearing navy, you know, or anything
Yeah.
like that?
I just always say to all my clients, and this is sometimes uncomfortable for men, but you know, you got to experiment with color, because color is what makes you stand out. It makes you like different, right? Than all the other men, to your point, that are showing up in the navy suit with the blue baby blue shirt, right? How do you stand out and look different? It is color, right? Because everybody wears a button down shirt. I mean, unless you're wearing a polo or something like that, but majority of industries, to look professional, you at least have to wear a button down shirt. So what is different about your shirt? Is it the pattern? Is it the color? You know, if you wear
Mm.
a jacket, is there something different about your jacket pattern or color? Could you wear a pocket square? You know, accessorize your personality. And since we're saying it's from the waist up, I would say, maybe it is a fun tie, maybe it is a cool pocket square, or some kind of interesting watch, something that grabs people's attention if they're only seeing this in your frame, that. So color honestly is going to be the key in this, because that's going to make you different and you're going to pop on the screen versus somebody who's just wearing your typical like navy and maybe a white shirt, blue shirt type of thing, right? So experiment with the color, guys. Don't be afraid of color. And, of course, everybody looks better in certain colors than others, depending on your skin tone and your hair color. But, just try. If you've gotten a compliment on a color that you've worn, then you should be trying that more.
That's
So
your
that's
color.
a good way to know. Yes, that's a good way to know.
Yeah.
Compliments.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Well, I want to show you all of your all of your information so people can connect. And
Sure.
how do you generally get to know people? Do you offer a consultation or?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I offer a free consultation, a free 30-minute call, and you can go to my website and book that. It's styledsharp.com. Also, right now, I'm doing a virtual like style session where it's 30 minutes and I can just help you exactly what we were talking about, help you with your styles and colors that you can be wearing on your virtual calls and meetings. I'm also going to help you style 5 outfits straight from your wardrobe. So like, we're going to shop your closet and I will style 5 outfits for you. So you kind of are set, you know exactly what you could be wearing. And then you also get a digital lookbook with that as well. So you have access to a digital lookbook that you can easily go in and see what those outfits are. So I'm doing that right now. It's a 30-minute session for $97.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a complimentary consult initially, but then if
Yes,
they would like
initially,
to have
yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
full experience with the lookbook,
Yes.
it's
Yes,
97. And there's
absolutely.
nothing better than having somebody outside look at your closet, or like I was saying with Alyssa, it's Alyssa Peak was on last week
Mm-hmm.
talking about how to set up what you have in your home for
Right.
for maximum impact, and
Mm-hmm.
you forget, you just forget
Yes.
the stuff you have. And when,
Absolutely. Hmm.
yeah,
I just did one of these yesterday, and the person that I was working with, I mean, he was like, "Oh, I didn't even realize that I could wear this with this," and that's typically what happens, right? Because we don't see outside of everything that we've know or tried, right? So it's good to have an expert come in and actually say, "Oh, take that, put that together, and that's a whole new look for you." So that's why I say we shop your closet. Like, you don't even have to buy anything. You could be just shopping what you have, create
right,
outfits right there. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's my fun. I love doing that. That's fun for me. So yeah.
yeah. And I find that sometimes you realize you've got more in there than you thought you did, because
Yes.
somebody else is looking at it and saying, yeah, that does go. And
Yes.
you might in your mind be really afraid to try something like that, but having somebody confirm that that's going to be a good look for you is
Hmm.
really valuable, and
Yes.
without shopping elsewhere.
Hmm.
So that's cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It has been such a fun show. And my dog Daisy for joining us for a
Thank
portion.
you, Daisy.
Yeah.
Aw.
The
Right
unexpected
at the
guest.
perfect time.
Yes, the surprise guest. So thank you so much. And I hope everybody takes advantage of the complimentary call, especially,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
the
Mhm.
offer that you have is wonderful. It
Mhm.
really is. And this is the right time to do it. You know,
Yes.
we're all going to be here, be home and on video for a while,
Mhm.
and it's not going anywhere. I think employers and businesses are realizing that there is a way for most industries to do some business virtually,
Mhm.
and it's time saving and it's a cost saving. So yeah,
100% agree with you.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's not like we're just going to go back to normal, and at least in the way that it was, right? There will be some integration, I believe, but
yes,
you have to kind of accept the new norm and really just move forward and what that might look like. And so I agree. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, thanks so much. Take
All right.
care.
Thank you, Melinda. Thanks so much. Bye.
Okay. Bye.